Hey, what's up? Chris from Schoen Roofing. We're going to continue our chimney flashing. Earlier we showed how to put this step flashing in so it drains out onto the shingles, carried them up, and now we're going to work on this front pan. So we bent our own flashing at a flat stock, about 6 inches up, 4 inches on the flat, and this is getting covered in siding. So we want it to be nice and tight when we're done so they can just bring that siding down. The first thing we're going to do, because this dead ends on a gable end, is we want to tab this around just for a little extra water protection at the corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our piece, I pre-cut it, I added a few inches just for waste factor, but we're going to notch 1 inch. We're going to take 1 inch out of the flat so that we can have a 1 inch tab that wraps around. So you can use a square. Lines. So if you can see the bottom, I put drew an X on. That is what we're cutting off and throwing away. And the tab is the upstand, and we're gonna bend that around just over 90 so it hugs the chimney. Take my blue snips. Take our long folders for bends like these. All right, so here's our tab, our piece. Set on the chimney, and it works perfect. So that's gonna stop it from sliding. It also gives this a really nice return. Depending how the siding guys finish it, I want our stuff to look good. Next piece we are going to do, we take our pencil, and hold this up a little bit off that step flashing, and we're gonna draw this line. So now we have our line of where that wall is. And what we wanna do is we wanna leave a 2 inch tab on this side, and the bottom we're gonna leave alone. So this is actually easier to cut from the back. So I'll turn towards you. So I'm gonna make a little 2 inch mark. Actually, we can do 1.5 inches. This right here is going to be our tab. This is going to be cut off. So do the same thing, cut down. This part is garbage. And then our tab here, because this roof is pretty steep, we want to cut a fairly steep angle so that we can actually wrap this around. If you just cut it flush, wrap it, you're going to end up running into the shingles. So it should be good about a 45. And then we'll cut the rest of that off as well. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to tab that around. Oh, it's so close. Because I've made it a bit bigger than I should have, just use the edge of the folder. Just make sure we got a nice crisp bend. Okay, so now we have the same tab basically hugging this side of the chimney. The last measurement we need to make is the distance from the side of the chimney out. We don't want it to be bigger than from the bend out, because when that next piece comes down, we don't want this sticking past. So we have a 4 inch, just under 4 inch. So we want this to be under 4 inch. I'm gonna do 3.5. It's okay if we're small on this one, because the next one's gonna come over top and cover anything that we. All right, So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide this part of the flashing under our step. We're gonna slide this tab behind the flashing. All right, so that's exactly how it should look. It's a little overbent, so we'll fix that. But with this being under this flashing and this being behind, all the rainwater coming down here is now hitting the metal. Shingles are underneath that underlayment. There's no way water is going to be getting in this area. All right, so I'm going to grab a nail and just tack this in for now. All right, so that's it. Now we're going to do the side rail. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to line it up. Love you, TJ. All right, so you can see we cut this a little bit short, about a 1/2 inch. You can get close to here. What? It wasn't your Gatorade. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So we stopped short of here so that we can bring this down and close it off. So now it looks square. We're not trying to fight with this. So what sometimes happens is that this hem here will get caught on this if it's the exact same length. So we cut it a little shy. We're gonna bring it down, line it up. That's where it's gonna sit. So the marks we wanna make, we're just gonna draw on the back. This point and this point here. Okay, so here is our wall line, but we want to go from the corner to the top of this wall. And all we really want to do is bend this over that way to make a nice triangle. It's a little bit more difficult because it's so big. If it's only a 3 or 4 inch, it's a lot easier. So you can do it in a couple bends. And this is where these long benders or long folders really come in handy. Okay. Once you're there, you can spend the rest by hand. It's just aluminum. It's nice and gently. Okay, so that's how the back should look. The last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna trim off this excess that is going past. So we're basically gonna cut from here to there. You want to keep it nice and tight. You don't want too much white showing. That's going to get caulking, so that'll all get covered. Put it back up. We're going to have a super, super nice detail on this chimney. All the water is going to shed past here. There's no extra tabs that are unnecessary. You want to just give me the camera for a second? We'll do a little flippy. We'll give Dan the cameraman. What's going on, Dan? All right. All right, so this is the sexy way to do a chimney. And then on the back side, you can see how tight everything is. So what we can actually do is we can get that tab to go behind the step flashing, slide it up, push that side in. Yep. And all we have is a tiny, tiny gap at the bottom that some caulking will fill in right there. And she is watertight. This is one of the best ways to do a chimney that we found. It looks great. So We're gonna tack it in and then we'll finish the top and show you that. Okay, so we cut this long, obviously, in case something screws up. So now we have to do is just finish this top, super easy. We're gonna have the other piece done. So we're gonna find center here, which is right in line with our ridge. And we're gonna go from that point and we're gonna go up and over for a big tab. Normally we would do straight up if this is exposed on a concrete chimney, but this is all getting buried, so we want a big tab going both ways. And now we're gonna cut it. So we're gonna cut across here. So we have a tab going down, and then we're also cutting up here, so a tab on the wall. If I can do it well, it is actually not need that much. And these blue snips are the best. Cut through both layers. Heads up. Okay, there's our piece. Take this. I'm gonna trim a tiny bit off. It's gonna scratch that other piece. Push in. And that is complete. Okay. This will give a couple little taps just to make that angle super tight. One nail away from the wall. Wow. I don't want to hit my finger again. Beauty. That is, all right, so that's how we flash chimneys. If this was a standard chimney, we would have done the same detail on the other side. All right, that's your chimney flashing from Schoen Roofing.